Hello everyone and welcome back to another album review, and in this video I'm going to review ZUU by Denzel. Denzel, in my opinion, is one of the best rappers in the game currently, and he constantly proves it with every single release that he puts out. One of those artists that started to be more appealing in the underground scene or only known from songs like Ultimate, which got extremely memed. People who searched further than that though discovered a really promising rapper, and he was constantly one of the underrated ones in the scene until the time he released Taboo, which is easily one of the best trap albums of the previous year and also possibly one of the most important albums in the entire hip hop scene from this decade. Denzel went into lots of different moods and directions with this album, and pretty much every experiment with this project worked in its favor, whether that had to do with the more soulful and laid down cuts or some of the best trap bangers you can find nowadays. So it was kinda surprising to me that Denzel announced a new album and not even a year has passed since the release of Taboo. Admittedly, it's kinda hard to pull a better album off, but I was still hyped for this thing. And the two teaser tracks from this thing got me really hyped. Ricky is definitely one of the best trap bangers of this year. It also has lots of elements in its sound that could go to something more old school, like some chopped and screwed and southern hip hop vibes. The lyrics on Ricky are also great, the rapping from Denzel is once again top notch, and it's a short, really entertaining and fun song. Speedboat on the other hand gave me a lot of Cloud Cobain vibes. It had this more chill, laid down beat, and the singing parts in the chorus sound really good, and it's a song that keeps getting better and better the more I listen to it. I love this hook on this thing, it's really gorgeous. Despite those great two singles though, I was a bit worried when I saw that this album was going to be really short. It's only 29 minutes long and it's only 12 tracks. I was at least hoping that this thing would go for banger after banger after banger, but in such a short album, when you have an interlude and actually two skits, this drags the whole thing down a little bit, and these three particular tracks also land at the second half of the album, so even the placement doesn't feel all that right, having the second side being cramped with all those sort of filler tracks. The tracks I'm talking about are Bushy Interlude, Yo, and Blackland 66.6. In my opinion, it's not like these sort of filler tracks are bad. Actually, I do think that Yo is kinda funny, it's a clever skit, but it would make more sense and it would be more understandable if we were talking about a far bigger album. When you have such a short album in length, there should be room for no filler. I would much prefer it if that album was even shorter, it had less tracks, it would cut just all the filler out and just focus more on some of the other tracks that feel short and a bit unfinished, like the first track, ZUU for example. Even though I'm not the hugest fan of this track and I think that the hook is kinda weak, I would much prefer it if that song was longer in length. ZUU was a short introduction, it didn't feel all that fleshed out and I wanted more from it. Same with some tracks like Cool Mart and Shake 88, or even the interlude Bushy would just go for something even more, but there's not that much to it. So unfortunately, as much as there are some good moments in this album, in general it feels rushed. In a sense, it sounds like a project that Denzel would just do in order to prepare you for something bigger that is going to come out, or just to give you something as a break after a legendary release. But I think that ZUU could have been done even better. It's getting apparent really fast that he was focusing on just a particular idea, but it doesn't feel all that fleshed out into an entire album. The result is dragging it with so much filler. Even in its short runtime, there are so many things that could have been left off. For example, as far as Color Mart is a good song, it sounds a lot like Ricky. Like this song sounds like a copy of Ricky, but it's not as great. Like the whole feel to it, the whole vibe, the flow, the structure, pretty much the entire thing sounds almost the same. And there's also a lack of flows. In this album they get a bit one-dimensional and predictable, something that was not the case with Taboo or some other projects from Denzel, which would actually make some of the biggest highlights, the fact that Denzel has multiple different and well-crafted flows. And there are also some really weak hooks on this thing. Like for example with the awkward automatic and also the last song Pat. While I like the aggressiveness on this song, it has one of the best beats, it has one of the most aggressive deliveries in the verse from Denzel. The hook throws this thing off a little bit, but there are definitely still some great moments on this album. Like I said, I love the songs Ricky and Speedboat, and I also liked a lot the song Birdz featuring Rick Ross. It's one of the hardest bangers Denzel has ever done. The beat on this thing is heavily distorted, and this sort of alarm siren sounds are excellent. And when it also comes to production, this thing is still fire. The production on this thing is solid. It's really clean, both combining perfectly the aggressive moments and the more laid back ones. Yeah, so this album was focusing more on being short and fun, and in a sense it definitely achieved that, but in my opinion it could go for something even more. Don't get me wrong though, even with its flaws, I still think that this is one of the more solid rap albums you can find from this year. But considering how great Taboo was, I was expecting a better continuation, and the singles from this thing got me really hyped. But at the end I was a bit disappointed. And I actually saw a lot of people defending this album because they didn't have that many expectations in the first place. And I was like, why? When an artist has done some great jobs, I'm expecting from him to give his 100% with anything he's going to come up in the future. Maybe me myself, I was not expecting something as great as Taboo, but why not have hopes for ZUU to be as good or even better? And ZUU had definitely the potential to go for something even better if it would feel more focused with some tracks and had less filler. Overall though, it's still a short and fun project. Some of the best tracks from Denzel land on this album in my opinion. This one is definitely more fun and catchy. It doesn't have that edginess and that emotional impact from Taboo or from some of his previous works, but still, a decent rap project from this year. I'm going to give this album a 6+ out of 10. What's your opinion on this album? Like it? Dislike it? Why? And what do you want me to review next time? Let me know down in the comments. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye.